All right, let's skip the typical boring corporate history and jump right into this explainer. Because today, we're looking at one of the most bizarre and brilliant cultural phenomena in modern marketing. We're talking about KFC. But, not just your average bucket of original recipe chicken. We're exploring how a fried chicken brand built this massive, highly adaptable global empire, and how they literally changed the way an entire nation celebrates the holidays.
Okay, so 3.6 million. Just think about that number for a second. That is the estimated amount of Japanese families who literally line up to eat KFC for their Christmas Eve dinner. It's wild. This tradition makes December 24th 10 times busier than an average day for KFC Japan. People are out there pre-ordering their meals as early as October, just to guarantee they get their fried chicken for the holidays.
So how in the world did this start? Well, listen to this quote from a foreign customer living in Tokyo back in the 1970s. "I can't get turkey in Japan, so I have no choice but to celebrate Christmas with Kentucky Fried Chicken." A store manager in Nagoya happened to overhear this exact remark, and boom, light bulb moment. By 1974, KFC Japan launched the Kentucky for Christmas campaign. I mean, they even started dressing up Colonel Sanders statues as Santa Claus outside the restaurants.
But the really crucial point here is that this wasn't just some fleeting viral trend. KFC Japan built a massive, enduring tradition because they kept continuously updating their Christmas party barrels. What started out as just a bucket of original recipe chicken and a little wine has completely evolved into this luxurious feast. We're talking localized luxuries, rich white tiramisu, lobster lasagna, and a unique commemorative plate that changes every single year. It's become a totally premium holiday experience.
Which really leads us to a massive question, doesn't it? How did a single, humble gas station in Kentucky evolve into a culturally adaptive global empire capable of doing something like this? To truly understand how this Christmas crossover was even possible, we gotta zoom out a bit and look at the brand's origins.
All right, Section 1, from gas station to global empire.
Picture this. It's the 1930s, the Great Depression, and long before he was the world-famous Colonel, Harland Sanders was actually running a Shell gas station in Corbin, Kentucky. Fast forward to 1940, and he finalizes his famous original recipe of 11 herbs and spices. His secret? Using a newly modified pressure cooker to speed up the frying without losing any of that quality. But the real franchising explosion didn't happen until 1952, when he took the concept over to South Salt Lake, Utah. The growth was so crazy rapid that it actually overwhelmed the aging Sanders. So by 1964, he ended up selling the booming company to a group of investors for $2 million.
Now, you'd probably assume Sanders came up with the whole shebang, right? Actually, scratch that. It was Pete Harmon, that very first Utah franchisee we just mentioned, who bundled 14 pieces of chicken into a cardboard bucket and trademarked the world-famous slogan, "It's finger-lickin' good." He was also the one who coined the name Kentucky Fried Chicken in the first place, just to make it sound a bit more exotic and evoke this warm imagery of Southern hospitality for his customers out in Utah.
So that domestic success, it spread like wildfire internationally. In 1970, their first outlet opened in Japan. In 1987, they made history by becoming the very first Western restaurant chain to open in China. Then, in 1991, they officially rebranded to the acronym KFC. Why? Well, consumers were getting a lot more health conscious, and the brand strategically wanted to distance itself from the unhealthy vibes of the word fried. Today, that aggressive expansion strategy means they've got over 30,000 restaurants spread across 150 countries. It's massive.
Okay, moving on to Section 2, the Global Localization Playbook.
So, how do they actually pull it off? Well, KFC employs this brilliant dual approach to global expansion. On one hand, you have strict global standards, the Colonel Sanders character, the secret original recipe, and of course, that iconic red and white bucket. But on the other hand, hyper-localization. They adapt their menu items, the store designs, and their pricing models. They fiercely protect their heritage globally, but they radically adapt everything else to perfectly fit local tastes.
Take China, for instance. It is absolutely their largest market now, with over 11,000 locations. And they didn't just force the American way on the Chinese market. No, they succeeded by adapting the bucket concept to embrace family-sized meals, which perfectly matched traditional Chinese communal dining habits. They brought in breakfast items like congee and steamed buns. And crucially, they positioned their restaurants as clean, modern alternatives during a time when local hygiene standards were a major concern.
Then you look at India. They faced a massive vegetarian population there, so, just pushing buckets of fried chicken simply wasn't going to cut it. Instead, they innovated. They developed entirely new vegetarian menus like the Chana Snacker and all these diverse paneer-based offerings. Plus, they introduced a super affordable streetwise value menu with entry-level pricing to match the cost of local street food. They treated the market as a unique cultural challenge, not just another distribution outlet.
Which brings us to Section 3, crafting a modern brand voice.
Now, the strategic platform that underpins their modern marketing is called The Right Way. Basically, it establishes KFC's differentiation through culinary authenticity. They explicitly highlight the fact that their chicken is real and it's hand-breaded right there in store by trained cooks. By anchoring their marketing in these tangible process differences rather than just throwing out generic, boring quality claims, KFC earned the right to be highly specific, confident, and really distinct in their messaging.
And that confidence, it allowed them to develop a wildly bold social media strategy. Instead of relying on safe corporate speak, KFC's marketing is all about taking risks. They use a ton of self-aware humor, they are unapologetically weird and quirky, and they focus heavily on platform-native content formats, like making TikToks that actually feel like real user content instead of polished, stuffy ads.
I mean, this right here represents one of the greatest viral marketing stunts of the digital age. On Twitter, KFC quietly unfollowed everyone. Then, they followed exactly 11 accounts, the 5 Spice Girls and 6 random guys named Herb, right? 5 spices, 6 herbs, 11 herbs, and spices. They didn't even announce it, they just sat back and waited. Eventually, a fan organically discovered the joke, and it absolutely broke the internet. It was just a perfect execution of that quirky, confident brand voice. And that exact voice is what guided them through the 2020 pandemic. Because let's be honest, telling people it's finger-licking good to eat chicken during a global health crisis? Yeah, not exactly the best hygiene advice. So instead of panicking, KFC self-awarely pixelated their famous slogan on their packaging to respect public health. Contagious Magazine actually called this move a banjo among violins. Because while competitors were running those somber, depressing ads with sad piano music, KFC stayed completely true to its tone, standing out brilliantly by just acknowledging the obvious tension.
So, here's a final, provocative thought I want to leave you with today. The next time you order from a global fast food chain, ask yourself, how has this exact meal been secretly tailored to fit your culture? Really look closer at your everyday meals. Behind that standardized logo is a massive, unseen localization playbook working overtime to win you over. Whether it's a bucket of chicken for Christmas in Japan or a paneer burger in India, the most successful brands out there don't just sell you food, they adapt to your world. Thank you so much for diving into this explainer with me today.